question number one, right out the gate, Lauren.
Okay.
This is something I found interesting after watching Monday Night Raw. I want to know who should be the current faces, male and female, on SmackDown and Raw, and who should be the current face of WWE moving forward. So I'd say that this is a pretty straightforward question when it comes to who the faces are supposed to be. I think we know who WWE wants us to believe are the faces are of the company right now, but I think since Triple H has taken over, it's a little murkier. The pond isn't as clear on who actually is the driving force behind each brand of wrestling.
Yeah.
Gone are the days of the company putting the brand on the shoulders of one person like John Cena and going, here, you've got to just go carry this brand to the promised land, and you're going to have to sell the tickets and make people come. It's now a little bit more of lead by committee, but still I think that there are actual faces on each brand. And I think you could say there's multiple answers to this question.
Okay.
But there's only one set of correct answers. So you can answer it a multitude of ways, but there's only one way to do this that's correct. So let's start with Monday Night Raw, and let's start on the women's division side.
Okay.
So there's two names that you get to say without the IWC stringing you up and just leaving you to dry on the internet about your choices. And those two choices are obviously, you can say Becky Lynch and you can say Rhea Ripley.
All right.
And you're not allowed to say any names outside of that. That is it. Those are the two that are possible faces of Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
Now, Becky Lynch has carried that torch for a long time. And I don't know that you can be upset if somebody still wants to believe that Becky Lynch is the face of Monday Night Raw. But I don't know right now, as far as professional wrestling goes, I don't know if there's anybody in WWE better than Rhea Ripley.
I mean, she's pretty fucking good, man.
I don't know if there's anybody in pro wrestling, period, from a women's standpoint that is better than Rhea Ripley. That she is possibly the best superstar in the business. And as of right now, outside of maybe R-Truth in the men's division,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a more universally liked superstar in WWE than Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
When you point to everybody else, you could point to CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. They are
A love them or hate them type of thing.
equally loved and equally hated. I don't tend to run into too many people who have an issue with Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as far as like when you start talking about the attributes that make you a solid pro wrestler, I think she ticks all the boxes in every department. She has a very unique look.
Mm-hmm.
She's extremely good on a microphone.
Yes.
I think her skills have surpassed everybody on the roster, maybe not named Charlotte Flair.
That's what I was thinking.
You think that's a fair assessment, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And she's only 27 years old.
Yeah, so she's still young.
Yeah, so when you strap Monday Night Raw to her back, you're essentially saying that you could have 10 more years with Rhea Ripley, no problem being the face of Monday Night Raw. Now, there are those who will make the argument that it's hard for a heel to be the face of a company. I would point you at Roman Reigns, but in the same vein as Roman Reigns, I don't know that Rhea Ripley can, at this point, be considered a full-on heel.
When so many people like her.
So many people cheer her.
Yeah.
That she's part of a heel faction. She tends to have some heel reactions, but I don't know that I would call her 100% heel. I also think that this past Monday on Raw, they put her in the ring face to face with Nia Jax, who Nia Jax is never going to be a babyface.
No.
So if this is foreshadowing something that's coming in the future, I think 100% Rhea Ripley turns babyface going into that feud. Now, I don't know if that's a Royal Rumble thing. I don't know if they're setting that up for Elimination Chamber. I don't know if that's WrestleMania. I don't know if it's farther down the line, but it's obvious to me that Rhea Ripley is the face of Monday Night Raw, and it doesn't matter if she is babyface or if she's heel. she has the ability to sell tickets and make people come. I believe people buy tickets to come see Rhea Ripley.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm like I said, I'm not mad.
So I think guys and girls both like
100%.
her.
I think she has that kind of ambiguous character that she appeals to all walks of life. Everybody can kind of relate to Rhea Ripley, and there's no jealousy, there's no kind of hatred. It's just this genuine.
I was gonna say, like, being a girl, it's not like she's like overly like, I don't want to say, like
she's so unique,
slutty, but like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
There's like, I'm sure that there's some girls who just don't like Liv Morgan because of like the way that she looks. Maybe she's a little too pretty. You know what I mean? Like I still think Rhea Ripley's pretty, but it's because she's so different.
There's a level of jealousy that comes with certain superstars, and even from the point of view of like, oh, my boyfriend likes that wrestler too much, right? With Rhea Ripley, she has this right mixture of like who she is and the comfortability in who she is that it makes her likable by all people. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I'm not mad at anybody who's stuck on the notion that Becky Lynch is the face of Monday Night Raw, but I think we have transitioned out of that time period. I think that Becky Lynch has become a little bit predictable, a little bit stale, a little bit of a one-trick pony, and she's still extremely good. When she gets in the ring, she gets the job done. She does it as good or better than almost everybody else in the industry. I think on the microphone, she tends to hit the same notes a little too often for me. Yeah, sometimes she gets a little bit excited and starts breathing, but I don't think that Becky's lost a step. I think it's just that thing where Rhea Ripley passed her by and is continuing to move forward. I think Rhea Ripley is going to be something special for the next 10 years.
Definitely.
So let's move on then to the male side of Monday Night Raw.
I had one question real quick.
Go for it.
Okay, so you said that Rhea Ripley was 27,
yes,
right?
Uh-huh.
Who is in that kind of same age bracket as her? Is Liv Morgan?
Yeah, so Liv Morgan would be there. Is it just female wrestlers you're asking about?
Female wrestlers.
It's going to be a lot of those new like NXT girls that are coming up and people like that. But she is definitely of the younger generation compared to the Baileys, even Bianca Belairs, the Charlotte Flairs, all of them are, they're not old, but they're older than her. She is the generation that is upcoming.
Gargano's wife. What's her name? The fairy girl?
Yeah, I believe
she's older too,
I
right?
believe so.
Older
Yeah, I believe both him and her are of old. I would. There's two generations, right? There's I'd say 30 years old is kind of a cutoff for there's the generation that's from 30 to 40, and then there's that generation that's like Dominic Mysterio, MJF, Austin Theory, Rhea Ripley. That's that next generation. And she's definitely in that side. It's just funny. She's already accomplishing so much that you start to, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit with somebody else, but you start to just go man, it's weird that she's so far ahead of a Dominic Mysterio or an Austin Theory because of what she accomplished in this short amount of time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So let's move to Monday Night Raw, male side. There's only 4 names. 4 names make sense in this conversation, okay? Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and I'm going to throw Gunther in on this conversation. We'll start with Gunther because I think Gunther has all of these intangibles that you need to be the face of a company. He has the records, right? Longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He's got the momentum. He's still in the middle of a title run that I don't see where this is going to end. Assume that it may go all the way till WWE's in Germany.
Oh, true. I think that would make a lot of sense.
So there's nothing stopping him from this run that he's on right now. The only problem I would have with Gunther right now is I just don't know if Gunther has the personality to be the face of Monday Night Raw. And I also don't know if Gunther even wants to be the face of Monday Night Raw. I think Gunther is going to be for throughout his career this incredible number 2 on the roster. He's Scottie Pippen. He's a guy who's going to show up. He's going to perform every time he's on TV. You can count on him for a main event if you need him, but he's not selling the tickets.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how many people are buying tickets to show up to a WWE event to see particularly Gunther. I believe they're coming to see Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
I don't believe I believe you're excited, right? That his
he's
music
here.
hits and you're ready for him to come out. I just don't know if he's moving tickets in the United States enough that we could. I'll put him in the list. I just don't think that he's hit that level yet. I think he can. I think he can fine tune some things and get there. He's not there yet.
Definitely.
So let's talk about Seth Rollins. Because this is the one that by all accounts and by all means, Seth Rollins has all of the tools in the toolbox to be the ultimate WWE superstar. He should be not only the face of Raw, he should be the face of WWE.
Yeah.
There's just times when I watch Seth Rollins that I feel like he's the wrong screwdriver for the screw that the show is trying to loosen or tighten.
Okay.
It's like he's a Phillips screwdriver and you really need a flathead. He's a tool. He has all of everything you could want. It's just something isn't quite hitting all the time with Seth Rollins. And I believe he suffers a little bit from the same thing his wife, Becky Lynch, suffers from. And that is he has a tendency to get a little bit comfortable within his character and start hitting the same note over and over, starts relying on the singing of the crowd, starts relying on the kind of maniacal laugh. And sometimes I don't think that he's able to kind of create stories bigger than just the character that is Seth Rollins. And I know that's a weird thing to say because if you look at him on paper, he's the most flamboyant character in the WWE. But I think so much of that with Seth Rollins is smoke and mirrors. And it's just this, he has a little bit of Chris Jericho in him where I think he gets the itch a little too often to change characters, to kind of make tweaks and make changes. And I can relate to that. I understand as a creative person, that tends to be something that happens to you as you want to continue to evolve. But I think with Seth Rollins, he's going to have to start kind of finding a comfortability and not necessarily, sometimes it feels like with me, that Seth Rollins is always doing what the company needs. And that's great, but I don't know if that's what makes you the face of the company. It's a little bit like The Miz, right? He's almost just a guy who's always going to do what WWE needs him to do, right? He's a workhorse. He'll wrestle every night of the week if you ask him to. He won't complain. He has all the charisma in the world. He can cut a promo. Like I said, he's reinvented himself maybe too many times. But it's almost what I think, if you look at Batman, right? What makes a good guy in Batman? It's clear-cut qualities of a superhero, right? It's good versus evil. The Batman is the good guy. The Joker is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins suffers from what I call Riddler disease.
What's Riddler disease?
The Riddler is a guy who he's ambiguous. We don't know, is he a baby face? Is he a heel? He straddles the line.
The Riddler wasn't a bad guy?
Not always. The Riddler sometimes helped Batman out. There's this in different variations of the Riddler takes on kind of different forms and never clearly chooses a side, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like, to me, that's where Seth Rollins wants to live. And creatively, once again, I understand because it gives you so many options when running your character. But if you look at like John Cena, the thing that made John Cena who John Cena was this steadfast belief that I'm always going to be a babyface. I'm never going to give in to what the crowd wants, and I'm never going to turn heel. And so that's the thing with Seth Rollins, I think holds him back a little bit. Because if you want to talk, like if you want me to go toe-to-toe with the IWC, I'll right now say pound for pound, Seth Rollins is the best professional wrestler in any professional wrestling company. He is better than Kenny Omega. He's better than Will Ospreay. He's better than CM Punk. When it comes pound to pound, microphone, in the ring, a little bit of everything, CM Punk is the best wrestler in the world. But like CM Punk, I think Seth Rollins is always going to suffer from being the bridesmaid. He's never going to be the chosen one.
True.
And it might just be circumstance. It might just be timing, right? It might just having to be in WWE at the same time as Roman Reigns. Having to be in WWE at the same time as other people coming up.
True.
So then, let's move forward. Third name on that list is CM Punk.
Yes, I remember.
And by definition of what I believe is a face of the company, I believe the face of the company is a guy who sells the tickets. It's who people come to see. CM Punk's that guy. That's literally the definition of who CM Punk is. He sells merchandise through the roof.
That's crazy.
He sells tickets. People are literally lining up to see CM Punk. He moves the television numbers, right? Crowds react to him every time he comes to the ring. He stood in that ring face to face with Seth Rollins. The crowd cheered for CM Punk. He stood in that ring with Drew McIntyre. Even when Drew McIntyre was taking very low, kind of dark shots at CM Punk that I thought were justified, they still cheered for CM Punk. The IWC told me time in and time again the last couple months that if CM Punk goes to WWE, the fans are tired of him. I told them, I repeated over and over, you guys just don't understand the casual audience. Sure, the IWC, who read every article and dig in every nook and cranny for every little fact, sure, they were tired of CM Punk, but the casual audience was completely ready to embrace him. It's the same problem they had with Cody Rhodes. These AEW guys, fans think that when these guys wear their welcome out in AEW, that's going to carry over to WWE, and that's just not true. The IWC fails to understand that they make up a very small portion of the internet wrestling audience. So when they get loud, they start to believe their own bullshit, and they don't understand that casual fans are just more forgiving.
Yeah, if you like somebody, you like them, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so the only issue with CM Punk and the only issue with calling him the face of WWE is, number one, we've yet to see him wrestle in WWE. We saw him wrestle in AEW, and it's rough. It's not beautiful. It's not the same old CM Punk. He gets by on what I'd call wrestling logic, right? He knows how to tell the story. He knows how to make it look believable, but it's not that crisp, clean CM Punk best in the world we had 10 years ago. And that's to be expected. That's what happens, right? He's no longer a technical beast in the ring. I think that CM Punk's going to find himself in the same spot he found himself 10 years ago. He's going to be someone that the fans clamor for, that I will get behind, I will be excited for, but he's just never going to be able to step over, nor do I think he wants to anymore, but he's never going to be able to ascend to the top of that mountain. And be the guy who main events night 2 of WrestleMania. That's just not who it is. And I think that he's much more equipped for that role now. I think that he's grown into understanding that this is about helping other people out, and that by him finding some success, he then can put other people over. I also just think that whether he's right or wrong, whether you believe what he says about AEW or you believe, Tony Khan and those guys, I think he's just a little too tarnished to ever be the face of WWE, if that makes sense.
No, what do you mean?
Just there's a little bit of a stank, right? He sued WWE at one point. Then he went over to AEW and he took a couple shots at WWE. Then he got in all the backstage altercations. Then Tony Khan said that he was never been more scared of his life of a person.
Pussy.
Yeah. So, but I think whether that shit's right or wrong, whether that shit's real or not, I don't believe half of it. But whether it is or not, the problem is there's a public stigma that follows you, and I think that's just tarnished him enough that nor does WWE need to make him the babyface. Is something else I'll say. But I just don't think that he could ever, if that was something he wanted to achieve, get back there. So there's one more name then.
All right.
It's Cody Rhodes.
Yes, sir.
And he's the only one who, like Rhea Ripley, I think ticks every box that WWE's looking for when they want to put someone front and center for fans to get behind, to sell the tickets. I'm not the biggest Cody Rhodes fan in the industry, but we have to be honest as wrestling fans. There's quite literally nobody like Cody Rhodes in the industry.
I like him.
He has every intangible that you need to be the face of a company. He's got a legacy, no pun intended. He can work the mic with the best of them. He's a top 3 worker in the ring. He can wrestle every night just like Seth Rollins. He will set himself on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? He will go through
Purple
tables.
nurples.
He will show up on SmackDown, Raw, NXT, wherever he's needed. Cody Rhodes showing up to make sure he's team WWE. And he won't say anything bad about AEW. He's built this finish the story gimmick. And it's just a feel good story, right? There are some people, I hear people who get tired and roll their eyes at Cody Rhodes, but more often than not, most people are okay with the idea that like, Cody's the guy to beat Roman. Mm-hmm. Most people are okay with that story. And it appears that he's literally liked by almost everybody in the wrestling industry, right?
That's cool.
AEW guys like him. WWE guys like him. NXT guys like him. And look, I don't know if you saw at a house show, somebody held up a sign that said, "Will you be the best man at my wedding?" And he said yes.
Did he really?
And he asked when the wedding is. They went back, interviewed him in the back. He goes, "I guess I'm going to this guy's wedding."
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I mean, it'd
be cool to follow up to see if he actually goes.
He did. I'm sure he did. I know that at one time, Suplex, the content creator, he had a conversation and Cody Rhodes promised him tickets to an event, and he followed up and made sure that it happened and met them backstage. And like, Cody is that guy. He bleeds wrestling. He's a PR wet dream. Yeah. He wears red, white, and blue.
I think that like you can't really hate him because he just seems so nice. Like,
but isn't that funny? From like when he was in AEW, they literally were just tearing him apart. You need to turn heel. You're a piece of shit. Nobody likes you, Cody. Right? They were all over him. They couldn't fucking stand him. They couldn't appreciate what they had in Cody Rhodes. And they, once again, just like they said with CM Punk, WWE fans won't embrace him. WWE fans will have they'll get tired of him. Not yet. Like, I think genuinely, like I said, he's one of the most likable people in WWE.
Is it in a sense that, like, if they treat them like shit, then we're like, well, fuck you, we'll take them back?
No, I don't. So I don't think so. What it is with AEW, it's this little clique world. It's the IWC. They want things that aren't cool. It's hipster, right? And Cody's too cool. Cody's too mainstream. Cody's too WWE. No matter how much Cody left WWE and did the independent thing, Cody still had that WWE pedigree and DNA ingrained in who he is. Yeah. And they can't fall in love with that. Same thing with CM Punk coming back. And CM Punk said all the right things at the beginning. We're an indie rock band, right? We're playing at bowling alleys.
Yeah.
But then what happened is shit kind of went weary in the back, and CM Punk starts suggesting, like, well, maybe we kind of do this WWE way, right? Maybe we don't use real glass. Maybe we don't do this spot in this way. Maybe we there's got to be a chain of command. And I think what happens is the IWC starts going, oh, he's a snake. He's a WWE guy who's hidden in the grass, and he doesn't like our indie style and shit. And I think that these guys, they go, oh, fuck, and they leave. And they don't, because they don't appreciate who they are. You look right now. Look at AEW. Mm-hmm. 3 people who have jumped ship from AEW to WWE are Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Jade Cargill.
Yep.
Those are the 3 most marketable people in probably all of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, those are it's insane. If I was to look at the entirety of the AEW roster from its inception to today, and I'm taking 5 people, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jade Cargill are 1, 2, 3. Those are the people you build a company around.
Would be 4 and 5. I've got to.
If I'm building a company and chemistry matters, I think you still go Edge.
Okay.
Even though Edge has just become another guy, I'd probably go Edge and Christian. Really? If I'm starting a company, I go CM Punk 1, Cody Rhodes 2, Jade Cargill, maybe Edge and Britt Baker.
See, I would have gone Britt Baker and MJF.
MJF. You're right.
Those have been
You're
my
right.
2.
I don't know how I left that off the list.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
I go CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, MJF, Jade Cargill. Who else did I say? Britt Baker.
Yeah.
I think that's the 5 I'd go.
Yeah.
But look, Cody Rhodes, he's got 3 key wins over Seth Rollins last year, which I think makes him better. He's got the purple titty moment.
I mean, that thing was an amazing
But this is what I'm talking about. You're talking about who do you want to be the face of your company? The guy who literally tears his pectoral muscle and goes, I can give him one more.
I'd say in my whole, like, wrestling career, my wrestling
watching career.
Yeah, my wrestling watching career. That's probably one of my most memorable moments.
But that's what your face has to be that person, right?
That I literally was like, oh my God.
The baby face of a company has to be the person that leaves lasting impressions and moments. And while I do think Seth Rollins has some of those, I don't know that Seth Rollins has as many as Cody Rhodes in the short amount of time that Cody Rhodes has been back in WWE. So I'm not going to say it's by a landslide. I don't think that just overwhelmingly Cody Rhodes is the face of Monday Night Raw. In fact, if you pushed me enough, I'd say Monday Night Raw is kind of run by committee right now. You got 4 big names at the top, but like Cody Rhodes is the head of the committee. So let's jump to SmackDown. Okay, I think it's a lot more clear on SmackDown. It's not going to take as much conversation. There's a definite hierarchy on Friday Night SmackDown. Roman Reigns is on top. Roman Reigns is the face of the men's division on SmackDown. Love it, hate it. He shows up, he doesn't show up. He's still the guy who runs the place. When he shows back up, you get those goosebumps, you get the tingles, you get excited. Doesn't matter what you think. When the Royal Rumble comes and his music hits, we're going to fucking lose our shit. Everybody's going to be excited, right? Mm-hmm. And then sitting right under Roman Reigns, you've got LA Knight and Randy Orton. Both high caliber superstars, but they're not the face of the brand. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you got like Styles, Owens, Lashley. But Roman's the guy. Roman's the guy. You really can't.
I don't think there's a question about it.
I guess the only argument I would accept in this is that the Bloodline is the face of SmackDown. If you want to lump them together as a collective, but we've seen what SmackDown looks like when Roman's not there, and it's not the same when it's Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman. It's definitely Roman is that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like LA Knight and Randy Orton, both capable. I think they could be the face of SmackDown if they needed to be, but I think that Roman Reigns' shadow, he just cast a large shadow that these guys can't get in front of.
Yeah.
You know? Any other wrestling company. Take TNA, take AEW, take NWA. You put LA Knight or Randy Orton in their current state in any one of those companies, they are the top selling merch seller, top TV product mover, everything, right? Yeah. Just not in SmackDown. And not as long as Roman is on the show. And the interesting thing to me, Lauren, is what happens with that vacuum once inevitably Roman Reigns leaves. Because I think we're coming up on that point. The IWC thinks it's sooner rather than later. I think that we're on the back half of Roman's career, but I don't think it's going to be in like WrestleMania, Roman just disappears. But who steps up and fills the role when Roman leaves? Who's next up?
Yeah.
Is it Solo Sikoa? Is it LA Knight? Is it Randy Orton? You want me to hit you with a fun little fact? And you said something earlier that I had this written down, but this was interesting. You asked about Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, right? Uh-huh. And I think you find it interesting. They're about the same age, but they definitely don't feel like the same points of their career.
No. I mean, look at Liv's championship versus,
Yeah,
Rhea's.
So let me take one even farther. Randy Orton feels old as fuck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, because he's been around forever.
Almost 50, right?
He's 43 years old.
Okay.
I'd say that Randy Orton's had 3 Hall of Fame careers. If you just look at the entirety of his career. Mm-hmm. LA Knight just won Breakout Star of the Year, and he's 41 years old.
That's crazy.
He's 2 years younger than Randy Orton, and he's just now entering that main event picture. It's weird to think about how different Randy Orton and LA Knight's careers are.
He probably wore Timberlands 20 years ago when they were cool.
You think
and brought
so?
them back, yeah.
All right, so let's do the women's division.
Okay.
This one, pretty simple, kind of like Monday Night Raw. There's 2 names that make sense. Mm-hmm. You could go Charlotte Flair, and you could go Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go against Bianca Belair in this conversation. It doesn't matter if Charlotte wins 21 world titles. I think that the same argument I make for Rhea Ripley is the same one I'll make for Bianca Belair. I think Bianca Belair is the future of SmackDown. I think Charlotte Flair's injured. This is the second or third injury she's had in the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, she's getting older.
Yeah, I mean, and these injuries are significant.
She does a lot of like the gymnastic moves and
high
stuff.
High risk. She's very high risk in the ring, and so it's because of that. I think that if you're looking at longevity in career, there's no question. I think if you're looking right now, Bianca Belair, people hate when I say this, but Bianca Belair is the closest thing we have to a John Cena in the WWE right now. She is the role model to every little girl. She can sell t-shirts. Everybody likes her. Mm-hmm. You get weird people who complain that she smiles too much, but that was the same argument about John Cena was too positive all the time.
But if she also had resting bitch face, they would complain about
exactly.
That. So
She's about to have her Hulu show starts in like 2 or 3 weeks.
I want to see that.
So, but that's my like she's clearly like in a well-established relationship with Montez Ford, who seems to be another high-quality person. So it's just like, I think, once again, you talk about PR and like media. I think when you point at her, she has all the intent. She ticks all the boxes. And I still think she's getting better is what's interesting about Bianca Belair. That's why I think right now at WrestleMania 40, the best match to make would be Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. I think right now you've got both of these two superstars that are on a crash course to the top. And I think it would be fun to start that rivalry. You've had the Becky Charlotte. You've had the Trish and Lita. I think it's time to establish the first like major chapter in Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. Now, I will concede on the Bianca Belair case that Rhea Ripley is the overall face of the women's division in WWE.
Yes.
I won't try to argue against that. I think Rhea Ripley is the most dominant female superstar. Where this conversation could get a little dicey is on the men's side. I think Cody Rhodes is the face of WWE.
Okay.
I know Roman is the guy. I know Roman has held the title 4 million days and he's going to pass Hulk Hogan and he's got all these accolades. But my problem is, by my definition of what the face is, it's the guy who sells the tickets. And Cody's there every week. And Cody's moving more individual tickets. And when Roman shows up, sure, place blows up, place sells out. It's the Roman show. He's just not there enough for me to call him the face.
True.
He's the most important guy in WWE. He's the most important man, but I don't think he's the face because he's just not there enough for me to call him the face of WWE. So if I have to pick, the face of WWE is Cody Rhodes.
I would